Assalamu alaikum. Hope you are fine. Today the topic we are going to discuss is hypertension. After the lecture, the student will be able to understand about the etiological factors of high blood pressure, learn about consequences, hazards of hypertension, organ damage, and later they will learn about the dietary management of hypertension through DASH diet. Okay, let us have a look at what is hypertension. Blood pressure arises from contraction in the heart muscle that pump blood away from the heart, and that is termed as cardiac output. And number two, it occurs due to the peripheral resistance, that is resistance of blood encounters in the arterioles. When either cardiac output or peripheral resistance increases, blood pressure rises. The major organ that is linked with hypertension is the kidney, and that play a vital role in regulating blood pressure by controlling the secretion of hormones involved in vasoconstriction and retention of sodium and water. Optimal resting blood pressure for adults is 120 over 80 mm mercury, or high blood pressure leads to several heart diseases, and it is also termed as a silent killer. Let us explore more about what is blood pressure. The force of blood against the wall of the arteries. Systolic means the pressure while the heart beats, whereas diastolic pressure is measured as the heart relaxes. So you can say it is basically dependent on the heart muscles contraction and relaxation. And normal blood pressure is 120 by 80 mm mercury. What is high blood pressure, or namely termed as hypertension? High blood pressure is the consequence of high cholesterol level in the blood that leads to the formation of plaque in the arteries. A consistent blood pressure of 140 by 90 mm mercury or higher is considered high blood pressure. Here are the classification. Blood pressure, hypertension is classified or termed in three ways: pre-hypertension, hypertension stage 1, and hypertension stage 2. When we talk about pre-hypertension, systolic pressure, blood pressure is 120 by 139 mm mercury. Diastolic pressure range from 80 to 89 mm mercury. And when we talk about hypertension stage 1, it ranges from 140 to 159 mm mercury. And for diastolic pressure, it ranges from 90 to 99 mm mercury. And whereas for hypertension stage 2, more or equivalent to 160 mm mercury, or diastolic pressure was more or equal to 100 mercury. This is the mechanism how which organs are involved in creating the hypertension. So different organs like liver, kidneys, lungs, and adrenal gland, these are the organs that are involved in raising the blood pressure. So what is this? Like when we talk about liver, angiotensin is released from, that is produced in the liver. Further, kidneys releases a hormone that converted angiotensins into angiotensin 1, and in the lungs an enzyme ACE, angiotensin converting enzyme, is released from the lungs that convert angiotensin 1 to angiotensin 2, which create the blood vessels to create the narrowing of the blood vessels and causes vasoconstriction. Further, like angiotensin 2 act on the adrenal gland to stimulate release of aldosterone, and what aldosterone does, that it acts on the kidneys to stimulate reabsorption of salt and water and creating the edematous condition and raising the blood pressure. So this is the condition in which like renin is secreted from the kidney, then it is act on angiotensin, that is in the liver, then renin act on angiotensin to convert in angiotensin 1, then act ACE and act on it, that convert angiotensin 1 into angiotensin 2. Further, aldosterone act on it, which create the vasoconstriction, further decreasing the glomerular filtration rate and also decreases the urine output. As a consequence, what happens, like water retention is caused, edematous condition is created, sodium is retained in the body, and as a result, blood pressure is increased, which is caused as hypertension. This is the basic mechanism which is linked with in the prognosis or in the positive causes in the causal of hypertension. Now we have a look at what organs are basically damaged by hypertension, high blood pressure. High blood pressure is dangerous because it makes your heart work too hard. The condition can damage your blood vessels and organs such as heart, kidneys, brain, and eyes. And it also increases the risk for heart disease and stroke. Further, hypertension also has an effect on heart. It is the number one risk factor for congestive heart failure. Number two, it also high blood pressure is also linked. It affects the kidneys, as we all know that kidneys act as a filter to get rid the body of waste. High blood pressure can damage the small blood vessels in the kidney. Waste buildups in the blood leading to dialysis, and it also affects the brain. It like create link with risk factor for stroke, hemorrhage, and weakened blood vessels, which then bleeds in the brain. It can also affect the eyes, like cause blood vessels to break, and bleeding in the eye can result in the blurred vision or even blindness. What hypertension has effect on arteries? High blood pressure can cause damage to the arterial wall. Arteries build scar tissues and attract lipid deposits at the damaged site, increased risk of for stroke. Let's have a look at the positive factors of blood pressure. High blood pressure. Number one, genetic factors, genetic predisposition. If your family has a tendency, if mother or father has blood pressure, then already offsprings are prone to develop hypertension. Being overweight or obese. Number three is ingestion of high salt intake, narrowing or stiffening of the arteries, aging, loss of elasticity of arterial wall, stress, too much alcohol consumption, and organ system disorders. We have a look at the basic consequences of hypertension. Now we will discuss how we can manage hypertension through diet. The diet pattern that is occupied or that is given for the blood pressure, high blood pressure disorder, your condition is DASH diet, that is dietary approaches to stop hypertension. DASH diet is an eating plan to lower or control high blood pressure. The DASH diet emphasizes foods that are lower in sodium as well as foods that are rich in potassium, magnesium, and calcium nutrients that help lower blood pressure. The DASH diet is basically a diet that is rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and low-fat dairy foods, includes meat, fish, poultry, nuts, and beans, and is limited in sugar-sweetened foods and beverages, red meat, and added fats. It is a dietary pattern promoted by US-based National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute to prevent and control hypertension. These DASH diet is specially recommended for patients, people with hypertension or pre-hypertension. In addition to being a low salt or low sodium plan, the DASH diet provides additional benefits to reduce blood pressure. It is associated with lower risk of several types of cancers, heart disease, stroke, heart failure, kidney stones, reduced risk of developing diabetes, and can slow the progression of kidney disease. DASH diet and sodium intake. A key goal of DASH diet is reducing how much sodium you eat, since sodium can dramatically increase blood pressure in people who are sensitive to its effect. In addition to the standard DASH diet, there is also a lower sodium version of the diet. Let's have a look at the standard DASH diet and lower sodium DASH diet. In standard DASH diet, the patient is advised to consume up to 2300 milligram of sodium a day. And whereas in low sodium DASH diet, the patient is advised to consume 1500 mg of sodium a day. Both versions of DASH diet aim to reduce the amount of sodium in diet compared with that when on a typical diet, a person can consume up to 3400 mg of sodium a day, and that is two more. When we talk about the benefits of DASH diet, it is also affected for weight reduction. The DASH diet weight loss solution has special benefits for people who carry their excess weight around the middle or who have metabolic syndrome, type 2 diabetes, PCOS, or postmenopausal weight gain. It emphasizes more on fruits and vegetables, cutting down extra fats and sweets, and also low in sodium content. Okay, let's have a look at the dietary modification according to the 2000 kilocalorie diet plan. Number one, we start with the grain. Aim to have 6 to 8 servings of grains a day, and go for the products that labels 100% whole grain or wheat. Grains are naturally low in fat, so avoid spreading on butter or adding cream or cheese sauces on them. Grains include bread, cereal, rice, and pasta. Go for the complex version as compared to simple or the refined version. Number two, we have the options we have for this vegetable. Strive to add at least 4 to 7 servings of vegetables a day. Add variety in the vegetable content like tomatoes, carrots, broccoli, sweet potatoes, greens, and other vegetables. These are full of fiber, vitamins, and minerals such as potassium and magnesium that help in lowering the blood pressure. Most important thing when you are buying the ready to eat products or frozen foods, vegetables, or frozen products, please check the labels before buying. When talking about foods, aim to add 4 to 5 servings of day. Like vegetables, they are packed with fiber, potassium, and magnesium, and typically low in fat. Except avocados and coconut, they have natural fats present in them. When we talk about dairy, try to add at least 2 to 3 servings of milk and milk products in your diet. Milk, yogurt, cheese, and other dairy products are major sources of calcium, vitamin D, and protein. Make sure to add the organic one as compared to the processed dairy products. The key is to make sure that choose dairy products that are low fat or fat free, because otherwise they can be a major source of fat. Next thing that is very important for DASH diet plan is inclusion of lean meat, poultry, or fish. Try to add 6 or fewer servings a day, because lean varieties contain fat and cholesterol. Don't make them a mainstay of your diet. Trim away skin and fat from meat and broil, grill, roast, or poach instead of frying. Like which fat is visible, try to remove that, and uh, uh, and try the alternate methods of cooking as broiling, roasting, grilling, or steam as compared to deep frying. Eat healthy fish foods such as salmon, herring, and tuna. These types of fish are high in omega-3 fatty acid, which can help lower your total cholesterol. Nuts, seeds, and legumes should be a part of your daily routine, and aim to and just try to add at least 4 to serving of nuts in your diet plan weekly basis. Almonds, sunflower seeds, kidney beans, peas, lentils, and other foods are good sources of magnesium, potassium, and protein. They are also full of fiber and phytochemicals, flavonoids. Nuts contain healthy types of fat, monounsaturated fat, and omega-3 fatty acids. They are high in calories. However, so eat them in moderation. So moderation is the key. Whatever food item you are eating, please focus on quantity as compared to uh, unlimited amount of food you are eating. Fats and oil, restrict yourself to at least 2 to 3 servings of day. Too much fat increases your risk of heart disease, diabetes, and obesity. Dash diet strive for a healthy balance by providing 30% or less of daily calories from fat, which focus on healthier unsaturated fats. Try to avoid saturated fats such as ghee, butter, cream, lard, and focus on adding mufas, polyunsaturated fatty acids, and monounsaturated fatty acids as like plant oils like olive oil, canola oil, sunflower oil. These are the best to opt as compared to saturated fat like ghee, butter, and lard, etc. Avoid trans fats commonly found in such processed foods as crackers, baked goods, and fried items. Read food labels on margarine and salad dressing so that you can choose that are lowest in saturated fat and free of trans fat. Saturated fat and trans fat are the main dietary culprits in raising your blood cholesterol and increasing your risk of coronary artery disease. Dash helps keep your daily saturated fat to less than 10% of your total calories. For instance, if you are taking your daily allowance of fat is 80 grams per day, so saturated fat should be limited to 8 grams per day, not exceeding 10 grams. per day, like 1 teaspoon of butter you can take in your daily diet. For sweets, restricted to 5 or fewer a week. When you eat sweet, choose those that are fat-free or low-fat, such as sorbet, fruit ices, jelly beans, hard candy, graham crackers, or low-fat cookies. Artificial sweeteners such as aspartame, NutraSweet, Equal, and Sucralose Splenda may help satisfy your sweet tooth while sparing the sugar, but remember that you still must use them sensibly. Cut back on added sugar, which has no nutritional value but can pack on calories. Let's have a look at the mineral content. Few minerals are very important in lowering the blood pressure. Number one mineral that we are going to discuss is potassium. Potassium relaxes the walls of the blood vessels, lowering blood pressure and protecting against muscle cramping. It is not easy to get the recommended daily amount, that is 4700 mg per day, but it is very important to lower down the sodium levels in diet. So when you are talking about the hypertension or high blood pressure, potassium, we have to include rich sources of potassium in our diet, and fruits are the best source to incorporate potassium levels or mineral potassium in our diet. Few examples of potassium-rich sources include broccoli, spinach, and other leafy greens, sweet potatoes, and fruits such as cantaloupe, kiwi, nectarine, and bananas are rich source of potassium. Number two, important major mineral for lowering blood pressure is calcium. Calcium is important for healthy blood pressure because it helps blood vessels tighten and relax when they need to. In addition to dairy, other good food sources for calcium include dark green leafy greens, fish with bones such as canned salmon and sardines, and almond milk. Benefits more evident with low initial calcium intakes, that is 300 to 600 mg per day. Another nutrient that is very important for high blood pressure or hypertension, that is magnesium, and it aids by affecting the blood pressure by modulating vascular tone and reactivity. It stimulates the production of vasodilator, prostacyclins, and nitric oxide, and it alters vascular responses to vasoactive agonists. Sources of magnesium include green leafy vegetables, for example, spinach and kale, fruits like figs, avocado, banana, and raspberries, nuts and seeds, legumes, black beans, chickpeas, and kidney peas, whereas vegetables like peas, broccoli, cabbage, green beans, artichoke, asparagus, Brussels sprouts are the best example, the best sources of magnesium. And when we talk about seafood, it is rich source of magnesium, for example, like salmon, mackerel, and tuna. When we talk about the dietary intervention for hypertension, lifestyle modification is the key. When lifestyle modification includes, number one is quit tobacco smoking, reduce weight if you are overweight, be physically active, aim to add at least 30 minutes of physical activity in your daily routines, follow a healthy eating pattern, that is moderate carbohydrates, moderate proteins, and moderate fat. Well-balanced diet should be included, plus inclusion of basic nutrients like calcium, magnesium, and potassium in your diet by inclusion of fruits and vegetables. In the end, I will like to conclude hypertension is very controllable disease with drastic consequences if left uncontrolled. As we have discussed earlier, that it can lead to, can affect our brain, it can affect our eyes, it can affect our heart and kidney. So diet is the major thing through which we can control the consequences or control the complications. Hypertension can be treated by diet and lifestyle measures that are so or more effective than medication. Third are the references. And so this is the end of the lecture. Thank you so much.